All right, the time has come where a middle-aged man rocking a dad bod ranks some of the best athletes in the world. We're talking about the top 30 overall wide receivers here for Week 5 fantasy football. What is going on, Headliner Nation? Jake Fantasy Headliners. Welcome back to the Draft.com studios, where today we're talking wide receivers, the top 30 overall wide receivers heading into the weekend for Week 5. Yes, you heard me. This is coming out on Friday. Doesn't do me any good to rank the guys from the Rams and the Seahawks because they've already played. We're trying to finish those lineups here for this weekend, so that's what we're talking about today. Real quick, though, if you want more information on any of these players, go check out our start-sit video. That's where we go a little bit more in depth. This is just meant to be a quick run-through of our top 30 wide receivers here heading into the weekend. Number 1 is going to be Keenan Allen, Los Angeles Chargers, going up against the Denver Broncos. The usage should be there, right? The targets, they're going to be there on a weekly basis, especially with no Mike Williams. Does he even play this week? That's still up in the air and a question to be asked here later in the weekend. We already know that Melvin Gordon is back. The defense now has to play the run a little bit more honest, bring more defenders into the box. That gives more one-on-one coverage for Keenan Allen. Like him there, got him as my wide receiver 1 for Week 5. Number 2 is Julio Jones. The ceiling is just too much to resist, and now he gets a matchup going up against the Houston Texans, which is a very middle-of-the-pack pass defense. Julio Jones has that huge play upside every given snap. I mean, you can't put the guy too far down the list. The touchdowns are here in 2019. He is coming off of a down week. Looking for him to bounce back here in Week 2. Number 3 is going to be Mike Evans for me, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. A lot of the owners who decided to not hop off the bandwagon after 2 weeks, reaping the rewards of it now. 2 back-to-back weeks for Mike Evans, saved by a big play last week. Looking forward again this week, going up against the New Orleans Saints. They're not going to be able to run against the Saints. They're going to have to throw, and that's a good thing because the Saints give up a butt-ton of fantasy points to opposing wide receivers. Got Mike Evans at number 3. Number 4, Amari Cooper, Dallas Cowboys, somebody we need to pay attention to going into the weekend. He's had a few nagging injuries. That hasn't really limited him on game day, just throughout the week in practice. We want to make sure he's good to go, though, before throwing him in there. So pay attention to the practice reports. Does sound like Michael Gallup could come back this week. However, the volume, the touchdown upside, it goes towards Amari Cooper here. Got him at number 4. Number 5 is going to be DeAndre Hopkins of the Houston Texans going up against the Atlanta Falcons, who just got decimated in the passing game by the Tennessee Titans, who have been able to decimate anybody in a passing game in recent memory. They did last week against the Falcons. Now, DeAndre Hopkins has that chance to really help fantasy owners win their matchup this week. He struggled here to start the season. Looking for him to bounce back here in Week 5. Got him as wide receiver 5. Number 6, Michael Thomas, New Orleans Saints going up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Bucs are one of the best run defenses in the NFL. However, they're not that great against the pass. Even though there's no Drew Brees and it's just Teddy Bridgewater, Michael Thomas is still an elite option at the wide receiver position just due to volume alone. He's going to get the targets. The problem, he may not get them in big chunks of yardage, and that high touchdown upside, they're not there for Michael Thomas now like they were when Drew Brees was playing quarterback. However, the safety, the high floor, it's still there. Michael Thomas got him at wide receiver 6. Number 7 right now, Odell Beckham Jr., Cleveland Browns, looking for a bounce-back week against a difficult defense of the San Francisco 49ers. Beckham may be a little bit lower. However, we really don't know what's going on with Jarvis Landry yet. Does he clear the concussion protocol in time to play this week? That's somebody we'll talk about later. But right now, Odell Beckham looking for a bounce-back week going up against the San Francisco 49ers. Got him at wide receiver 7. Number 8, Chris Godwin, another one of these guys we need to pay attention to, right? He's been limited in practice throughout the week. Looked great last week, one of the best wide receivers in Week 4, and he could be once again in Week 5 if he's 100% healthy in a matchup going up against the New Orleans Saints. Got him at wide receiver 8. Number 9, it's Adam Thielen, which is a lot higher than a lot of people want to see him. However, I mentioned it in the start-sit video. Squeaky wheel gets the grease, and Adam Thielen and the Minnesota Vikings offense has been squeaking. I expect them to come out this week and really make a conscious effort to throw the football down the field. Adam Thielen, the safer option between him and Diggs right now, looking for a bounce-back week, hopefully to turn the corner. Got him at number 9. Number 10, Julian Edelman, New England Patriots. They were kind of held in check last week by the Buffalo Bills defense. Now, this offense gets the Washington Redskins, who are absolutely horrible at containing opposing wide receivers. Julian Edelman should see the volume and be a very safe play here for Week 5. Got him at wide receiver 10. Number 11, Larry Fitzgerald, Arizona Cardinals, going up against the Cincinnati Bengals. He's moved up a few spots because of the injury to Christian Kirk, who doesn't sound like he's going to play this week at all. He may miss a few weeks. Now, that means that Keyshawn Johnson, heck, even Andy Isabella may get some more run with the Cardinals, but the bulk of the volume, the bulk of the targets, they're going towards Larry Fitzgerald this week. Got him at wide receiver 11. Number 12 is proof of how bad the Washington Redskins secondary has been against opposing wide receivers. Got Josh Gordon, the second wide receiver of the New England Patriots, here inside the top 12, like I mentioned with Edelman. This is a horrible defense of the Washington Redskins, and the Patriots are going to look for a little bit of redemption from being, held down last week against Buffalo, like Josh Gordon's touchdown upside this week. Got him at wide receiver 12. 13, Tyler Boyd, Cincinnati Bengals going up against the Arizona Cardinals, who are still without their two starting defensive backs. And Tyler Boyd had himself a down game last week. Auden Tate is really somebody who in this offense has taken a step forward. However, John Ross placed on IR. A few more targets going towards Tyler Boyd's way. Back at home, like Tyler Boyd again this week, got him at wide receiver 13. Number 14, Allen Robinson, Chicago Bears, going up against the Oakland Raiders in London. Typically, these London games have a tendency to be a little bit low scoring, more based on the ground game. However, the safety of the floor for Allen Robinson should still be here in Week 5 with Chase Daniel under center. He's going to be looking for his top pass-catching option early and often. Kind of similar to Michael Thomas, though. The huge chunks of yardage, the huge touchdown upside may not be there for Allen Robinson with Chase Daniel under center, but he's still a safe play. Got him at wide receiver 14. Number 15, Stephon Diggs going up against the New York Football Giants. We already talked about it with Adam Thielen, right? This is a great matchup for this offense to come out and really try to establish the passing game early. I'm bumping up Stephon Diggs this week. I think that both of these guys have a decent week once again in Week 5. Got him at wide receiver 15. Number 16 is going to be Hollywood, Marquise Brown of the Baltimore Ravens. At some point, again, this guy is going to have a huge game. The reason he hasn't dropped further down these rankings is over the past 3 weeks, he's averaging close to 10 targets a game. The volume is there. He's their big play threat. And going up against the Pittsburgh Steelers, a middle-of-the-pack pass defense, I'm going to fire up Marquise Brown once again. Got him at wide receiver 16. 17, Alshon Jeffrey, Philadelphia Eagles, going up against the Jets, and he is the top target right now of Carson Wentz. There is no Deshaun Jackson once again this week. It sounds like Nelson Aguilar basically disappeared last week. Zach Ertz has been hit and miss at times here to start the young season. Alshon Jeffrey, if healthy, which it looks like he is right now, top option in this offense. Give me some Alshon Jeffrey. Got him at wide receiver 17. Number 18, Sterling Shepard of the New York Giants. And we know he's got somewhat of a difficult matchup going up against the Minnesota Vikings. However, Golden Tate comes back this week. And why does that matter for Sterling Shepard? Well, it kind of takes away some of the defensive attention. The past few weeks, they knew that Sterling Shepard was their only pass-catching option outside of Evan Ingram. Now, with Golden Tate on the opposite side, it may open up a little bit more one-on-one coverage for Sterling Shepard and give them the ability to move him around the field. Still like him as a mid-wide receiver 2. Got him at wide receiver 18. 19 is another wide receiver that's pissed off a lot of fantasy owners. It's Calvin Ridley of the Atlanta Falcons. He's been highly inconsistent to start the season, but we can't write these guys off so soon. Ask the owners of Mike Evans after 2 weeks that probably gave up on him. Calvin Ridley has that huge upside. We can't quit on him here starting Week 5 of fantasy football. It's a great matchup going up against the Houston Texans. If the Texans can continue to score, which they should be able to against this Falcons defense, that means more throwing for the Atlanta Falcons, more opportunities for Calvin Ridley. Got him as a low-end wide receiver 2 at wide receiver 19. Number 20 is going to be Tyrell Williams, Oakland Raiders. Another one of these guys we need to watch. He may be trending down slightly here going into the weekend. Need to see how healthy he is. Going over to London, and it is a difficult matchup going up against the Chicago Bears. However, the past couple of weeks, the Bears have been a little bit vulnerable to top wide receiving options. Emmanuel Sanders, Stephon Diggs. Tyrell Williams has that touchdown upside, 4 straight games with touchdowns, and they're going to have to move the ball somewhere, and they can't throw every ball to balls to the Waller. Tyrell Williams should still be involved. Got him at wide receiver 20. 21 is going to piss a lot of people off, but this is where I have Juju right now. Bad Juju, because the offense in Pittsburgh just looks completely different with Mason Rudolph under center. He takes very few shots down the field, and every time he does, it basically goes to Deontay Johnson. Juju is kind of really big play touchdown dependent at this point. He saw only 4 targets last week, and now they're all of a sudden turning into this option using wildcat running offense with Mason Rudolph under center. I hate that for Juju Smith-Schuster, and until he can start to be a little bit more consistent with Mason Rudolph, he's going to stay here in the rankings right now. Got him at 21. Number 22 is another guy who's struggling with inconsistency. It's Sammy Watkins, Kansas City Chiefs, but one thing is for sure, we want a piece of this offense, and they have a decent matchup going up against the Indianapolis Colts. But it's hard to really figure out whose week is it. One of these Chiefs wide receivers can win you your fantasy matchup on any given Sunday. Whether it's Watkins, Hardman, Robinson, heck, Tyreek Hill is coming back to practice. When he comes back and hits the field, it's a little bit easier to figure out because it's basically Tyreek Hill and then Sammy Watkins. But with Watkins, Hardman, and Robinson, they're all basically, at one level. It's really hard to put one ahead of the other. Right now, got Sammy at 22, though. 23, Curtis Samuel, Carolina Panthers, going up against the Jags, who seem to be without Jalen Ramsey once again. And Curtis Samuel has, really taken over the lead target share in this offense with Kyle Allen under center. He's had double the targets of DJ Moore over the past couple weeks, and in my opinion, the safer play got him at wide receiver 23. Number 24 is Emmanuel Sanders, Denver Broncos, going up against the Chargers. And I mentioned it earlier, the Broncos are going to have to throw almost every single week to have a chance to win. Their running game, the way that they utilize their running game anyway, isn't going to win them very many football games. Emmanuel Sanders, one of the top targets in this offense. Maybe not the big play threat like Courtland Sutton. However, the safer play, it's Emmanuel Sanders, got him at wide receiver 24. 25 is going to be MVS Green Bay Packers, and he should be a little bit higher here, maybe once Sunday kickoff comes. The only reason he's not is because technically Davante Adams hasn't been ruled out yet. Now, I don't think he plays, and I think MVS assumes that number one role in this offense, going up against the Dallas Cowboys, who on paper look like a great pass defense, but they haven't faced a quarterback worth a crap. Aaron Rodgers will be the best quarterback they've faced this season. MVS has that high big play upside, touchdown upside, got him at wide receiver 25 and trending up. 26 is going to be Courtland Sutton, the big play threat now of the Denver Broncos. Both of these guys have wide receiver 2 upside, high wide receiver 2 upside here in week 5. Already mentioned it though, right? They're going to have to throw a lot. Courtland Sutton has that higher touchdown upside and that bigger chunks of yardage. That's what we're going to see with Courtland Sutton. Emmanuel Sanders will eat you alive underneath. Over the top, that's where Courtland Sutton comes in. Got him at wide receiver 26. 27, Jarvis Landry still hasn't cleared concussion protocol. Does he in time to play this game? Still remains to be seen. He may move up a few spots if he is cleared. However, right now, Jarvis Landry not practicing all week, trending the wrong direction. Got him at wide receiver 27, but something we're monitoring going into the weekend. 28 is going to be DJ Moore, Carolina Panthers, and I mentioned it when I talked about Curtis Samuel. Right now, DJ Moore being out-targeted by Curtis Samuel 14-7 over the past 2 weeks with Kyle Allen under center. DJ Moore is just more touchdown dependent at this point. Curtis Samuel, the safer option. DJ Moore still has that big play ability, but that's what he really needs to give you that solid fantasy day. Got him at wide receiver 28. 29 is going to be Geronimo Allison, Green Bay Packers. The teammate there of MVS, like we just talked about, they're going to have to throw the ball more here in Green Bay this week. They really had some success with it last week with Davante Adams, but with him gone, possibly, these two guys are going to have to shoulder the load. They have that big play upside. Got Allison at 29. 30 is going to be Auden Tate, Cincinnati Bengals. A little bit of a surprise to a lot of people, but this guy has really turned into a weapon for the Cincinnati Bengals. And now they get a matchup going up against the Arizona Cardinals, who are without their top 2 defensive backs. Auden Tate is really trending up at this point, has some huge touchdown upside if the Bengals can ever get in the red zone. I like him this week. Got him at wide receiver 30. All right, those are my top 30 wide receivers here for Week 5 fantasy football. Like I said, once again, this is just meant to be a quick list, run through them real quick. If you want more information, go check out the wide receiver start sit video. You'll get a lot more detail over there. And once again, remember, this is just heading into the weekend. We got some weekend games to talk about. The Thursday night game is already over. That's why those guys aren't showing up here in the rankings. Just to let you guys know, in case you're possibly wondering, hey, where's Cooper Kupp or Robert Woods or whoever you're thinking about? That's why they're not in this list. We're trying to help finish setting these lineups for the weekend. So hopefully you guys had a great week of work and you're looking forward to your fantasy football matchups here this weekend. Good luck, and we'll talk to you later.